Hello again, it's Noob, and this is an ABUS Plus 8850 padlock. The ABUS Plus, of course, is ABUS's disc detainer padlock, and they're known to be pretty good disc detainers. They have true gates and false gates, and are pretty tough picks. This is an interesting one because it's a cutaway. So there you go, you can see it's a cutaway disc detainer, and that will allow us to see inside and see what's going on. What I'm going to do first, after showing you how what this works and what tools I'll use, we're going to pick it blind. So I'll put it this way round against the vise, so we can't really see what's going on inside. And then we'll flip it round and we'll actually all be able to see inside and see what's going on. Right, so how does it work? Well, you've got a pack of discs in here. In between are washers to space the discs out. And here's the key. This key has very odd bitting. It's possibly a factory demo lock at some point, but this first space is almost like a zero cut. Then it goes to the highest possible cut all the way back down to zero, and then again here is a high cut. So it goes high to extremely low, then escalating all the way up and then back down again. Very strange bitting. Anyway, this is how it works. You put it in all the way to the bottom, you turn it, and the discs will turn a certain amount corresponding to the cuts in the key. So you can see that the higher cuts will move the discs further than the lower cuts. So remember that first cut in the key was a low cut, so you can see that's not moving at all, and the second cut in the key was very high. That's what you're seeing here. So it's almost like a step. The sidebar here actually detains the mechanism from moving if you don't have the right key. And you see it's housed in a little groove. There you go. Now, if all the gates are aligned, the sidebar can retract and essentially free up the core from moving. If you look very carefully here, you can see some little divots. These are false gates. They're nowhere near as deep as the true gates. And actually, that's how I exploit this lock when I'm picking it. I'm feeling for a more positive movement when I'm picking the discs. So I get them roughly into what I think is a true gate. Then I go back through the pack and I'll keep moving, either side of what I think is a gate, feeling for a more positive hit, if you like. Okay, so how are we going to pick it? Well, what we're going to do is use this tool which I made in another video, which I will link to. And this is just a rear tensioning disc detainer pick. I've matched the tips so that they match, and what I've got is a very thin picking tip here, and I've cut grooves and coloured them in for where the discs roughly are, and use it as a guide. What this will do is essentially go down all the way into the lock, and you'll see that it actually moves. There you go, the core. Put enough tension on it, it will force that sidebar into the disc pack, and that will bind in turn some of those discs, and you pick it by finding the binding disc, getting it into a gate, what you think is a true gate, then going back through, like I said, and trying to find if you were right about the gates, and correcting it if you're not. So yeah, it's kind of cool. This is a much older disc detainer, ABUS Plus. Some of the newer ones, they actually tension from the discs sort of at the end, in the middle, or at the top, I think randomly. So that can be a much harder task. You've got to first find which disc it's tensioning from, then you've got to have the right tool to tension it. Some of the tools which you can get actually have 3 different tips, so you can sort of tension in the middle and pick either side of it. Very cool. This is just a modified Chinese rear disc detainer pick, which probably costs about £2 or £3. So yeah, kind of cool. Right, let's throw this in a vise. Let's actually get picking on it. We'll do it blind first, as I said, then we'll have a look at it all together the other way up. And yeah, let's crack on. So first things first, with all disc detainers, you just need to zero the discs one way or another. I'm going to use a Z bar, but you know, you can use anything really, a bit of wiper blade, anything that's sort of flat and can get all the way to the bottom of the lock. And we're just going to try and zero all of the discs. When we insert the pick, you don't want to disturb them because it can really mess up the discs, and then you don't know where you are. So you won't see me tensioning this, but I'm just going to turn this basically clockwise. That's it, and keep it there until the lock's picked. Then we've got the picking tip here, which I'm going to insert at the same time as the tool, gently keeping a tiny amount of anti-clockwise turning, and then turn the tip clockwise and keep the pressure on. Then just going to gently, so all the first disc there, which is 8, I just touch and it won't go any further, so it's definitely in a gate now. Nice click, 2, and oh, very positive on the third gate there. So I'm assuming that's the real gate. Light, chunky. So again, whatever the third position is, I think that's a true gate. Okay, this is 8765 now. Again, chunky and seems to have stopped. 4. Back onto 4 if I can. I'm going to leave 4, I think, for a minute, because I wasn't convinced that was a positive gate or not. I'm going to leave it there and see where we get to. That was 3, and so 2. Let's test that. I can't get onto 2. Doesn't want to go any further. I'm just going to leave 2. 1's binding. Oh, weirdly, I didn't feel any false gates. It just sort of went all the way around and then clicked. So let's go all the way to the bottom. Test this out. There we go. Get on to disc 2 now. That's good. Disc 3. Just testing that one out. See, move it back 1, position, move it forwards 1. Yeah, that's really binding. So I think that's good. I'll keep it sort of there if I can. Good. Where are we? On to disc 4. If I can get that to bind. There we go. There we go. Yeah. That's good actually. I'm gonna leave that there. That's good again on disc 4, 3, 3? Yeah, no, 4. And I think, yeah, we got it. Oh, so yeah, we had to go. It seems to bind from the bottom to the top, and then you sort of go back down, then try again, and just test each gate. In general, you can sort of tell when you're in the true gate because of the more positive click. But when it doesn't open, I just go up and down, sometimes over and over again until I just set it. I don't know whether the fact that the body is cut away a bit means that you only have 2. Let's get this out of the vise. 2 sort of points of contact on the sidebar. So I'm wondering whether it'd be easier if the sidebar had sort of equal pressure across the whole sidebar. I think this lock actually sometimes gets a bit sticky because it's only sort of held in at the top and the bottom. That's a problem with cutaway locks. Sometimes you do have some funny old behaviour with them. But there you go. So that's the Abus. Let's get that the right way around this time. Abus Plus 8850. So here we are. I'm hoping this will be a lot easier to pick. Although genuinely, even if you can see inside, this isn't a pushover. Strange, huh? Anyway, what we got is this flat bar. This is what we're actually doing inside when we reset those discs. So we're getting it sort of wiggling around until we get all of them. There we go, and we're done. So that's the neutral position, all anti-clockwise. Then what we need to do is align our pick and tension tool like that, and drop it down into the keyway all the way to the bottom, like that, and then there we go. Right, now we can apply some nice tension. You can see that we're getting some tension there, pretty firm, and start on 8, and all of a sudden we're getting a nice positive movement there, and that was 7. There we go, nice click. 6. Good. 5. 4. Nice click out of 4. Go back to 5 maybe, yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, and finally 1. Now, what's actually happening here is we're trying to compress by turning the tension tool this sidebar, and that should press its way into the discs if they're in the right position. You can see that somewhere they're not quite right, otherwise this would be easily sliding in. So we keep the tension on. Might swap hands because it's a bit achy. And yeah, we start at the top and work our way down this time. So disc 1, disc 2, get onto it. I can't seem to get onto disc 2. There we go. Disc 2, disc 3 now. There we go. 4. 5. And so you go to disc 1 again. So I feel we're almost there now. Let's poke that sidebar and see if it's actually gone in any further. So you can see now if I push it, still not quite right at the top, so that's indicative. Oh, move me light. And there we go, we've got an open. So yeah, even when you do actually see inside, it's not immediately easy. And I do generally think it's to do with the fact that this sidebar is only pressing at the top and the bottom of this cutaway, and therefore not providing sort of even pressure across all the discs. Nevertheless, it's a fun lock to explore. A nice one to have in the collection, and a good one to show people how these things work. Well, I hope you found that interesting, and I'll see you all next time.